Hello, I'm Panos Kotzathanasis, and this is Asian Movie Pulse Interviews. Today I'm here with Scud, whose latest film, Naked Nations, is screening at the International Film Festival Rotterdam. How are you, Scud?
I'm good. I'm good.
Okay, you look good.
Oh, am I?
Okay, so the first question, I guess it's inevitable, but are you sure about quitting films or?
Ah, well, I'm quite sure. And people did ask me whether I would be less sure with the celebration by Rotterdam. I would say maybe not. I mean, it would be sheer luck to be able to live at a peak. So that I hope I would be missed. I mean, unless I mean, instead of being living, I mean, when it's already doesn't make any differences. Yeah, that's what I feel.
Okay, so is that one of the reasons you are quitting because you want to be missed?
Um, I always love to be missed. I mean, that's maybe one of the objective of my life. Yes, but no. I think I have a feeling that I've done enough, and I've made 10 films, and so I don't see that I can do much more in the rest of my life. So I've been thinking of trying something new. Okay. If I look at in my life, I've been telling people that I have climbed 2 mountains. The first was IT. I was a IT a person for over 20 years. Okay, and then I quit when my company went public. And for film, I've made 10 films in 17 years, and now this. So I think I've climbed up another mountain. So there might be still maybe 20 years left for me. So I begin to fantasize climbing yet another mountain.
Okay, but do you have any clue what this mountain is about? The
Yes,
new
now
one.
I can tell. I'm going to write. I have been writing diaries for like over 20 years. I write every day basically, but the few of what I've written have been published. So I guess maybe that's another way I can share with the world what I think, what I feel, and and at a lower cost than making films.
And looking back at your career in cinema, how do you feel about it now? How do you feel about these years that you dealt with cinema?
Um, I wow, that's quite a question. I mean, there are up and downs, obviously. The first few years, I was doing very well. So my third film was in Berlin. My films were opening film and closing film in festivals in Hong Kong and elsewhere. So I thought I was at the top of the world already. But then from my fourth film onwards, I have a feeling that what the world would like to see, I was drifting away from them. Okay, it seems my film became too radical, too far away from the mainstream taste and everything. So there were times that I was quite almost depressed. And then from my seventh film, Adonis, it became a surprise commercial hit. It went to top of the chart in Amazon DVD sales. So that was like, okay, you never know. You just keep on doing, and the world will tell you, the fate will tell you how you have done. So also the same as like a Body Shop last year in Rotterdam, and this year the retrospect. I wouldn't say I've expected this, but it happens, and at the end something will happen if you persist. I think that's probably what I can say.
And you mentioned in the film a number of times that the only thing that you worry about is your actors now that you are quitting. Can you tell me a bit about that and how do they feel about you quitting?
Okay. Actually, the reason I put so much weight on actors is because, I mean, acting my films are not any ordinary acting. Okay, they have to really give them all. They have to go all the way to satisfy the requirement of the role in my films. So I always feel in depth with them. Some of them did pay some costs for acting for me, like like some even was blocked by the mainstream industry or the government for their other opportunities. So I mean, this time, I mean, I will be able to bring many of them to a very high stage in world cinema to be celebrated, to be applause. I mean, that is what make me really, really the most happy right now.
Okay, okay. But are they devastated with you quitting, or have they accepted it, let's say?
I think they accept it quite well. And actually, one of the reasons I still make one last film, Naked Nation, was because if I quit right after Body Shop, I would have disappointed still quite a few of actors who was expecting roles from me. So I did that mainly for them, and the payoff, it turns out, I hope it's going to be one of my groundbreaking films.
Okay, and tell me a bit about, okay, your films, your latest films, starting with Adonis, I think, are filled with nudity. They say, how is your perspective on it? Why do you like it so much, let's say? How do you think about nudity? Yes.
Okay. I think nudity started from my very first film, and City Without Baseball, and I was actually much criticized for that, for having the locker room scene that the guys were totally naked. I was defiant. I was saying, who would go to a shower with clothes on? So yeah, my feeling at that time was I couldn't believe the Asian cinemas were so conservative. It was actually, I mean, that was about 17, 18, 16 years ago. It was much more conservative than when I was smaller, than when I was a kid, than in the 60s, the 70s, 80s. So I was not happy with that. So I decided that I would do more if you are afraid of nudity so much. But then, I mean, as I went on, it seems the criticism turned into more like curiosity or even acceptance. So I'm happy to say that more and more people are telling me nowadays that I've kind of shift the paradigm of cinemas, especially in some of Asia, like in Korea, in Thailand, and even in Japan.
And was it difficult to convince your actors to be nude on the screen, or you had already agreed with them before casting them, let's say?
I think it's actually not as difficult as one might imagine. Once you have done 1-2 films, okay, you have the reference. So they would go back to my earlier work first to see if it's just pornographic or erotic and that sort of things. So they realize they are serious work, then they will be willing to do it. Actually, I think mostly the actors are quite willing to expose themselves. What prevent them from doing that, or what prevent us from seeing them doing it, are actually the filmmakers or the companies, the production companies, because they need to get money back, and nudity is still perceived not very mainstream, so it might not be good for office anyway.
But this time you also get naked. How was that experience? How did you feel this time?
Oh, you mean myself?
Yes.
It's actually the first time I actually put myself into a role in my film, because it's the last one. So I suppose I could, I mean, there's nothing to lose for me to try something new, which was acting. I never believed I could be a good actor, but by acting together with them, I actually make them more, more comfortable, because the story were about how we lived through the pandemic these few years together. So it is my story with them. So if I was there instead of someone else pretending to be me, it would help them. So my calculation was the deficit of me, non-professional actor in the place, to the rising level of the others. I think it should work. As for me, I felt easier than I thought, and nudity has never been a problem with me. I mean, I wish I could be fitter and younger, but that's about it.
Okay, all right. And can you tell me a bit about the sex scenes? Were they difficult to shoot? How was your approach towards them in the
Let me
film?
tell you, the sex scene is the easiest to shoot,
Oh, really?
because the actors, all the actors, actresses, they want to get over it as soon as possible. No one want too many retaking. So very often at the first or second time they will make it. It's not that difficult. And after all, it's something we actually know. Used in general, we actually know how to do it. And also, if we were shooting a very ordinary film like me talking to you, then it has to be perfect. Otherwise, the audience will find us not professional. But sex scene wise, I think the audiences would be much more forgiving.
Okay. And in those scenes and in general, do you allow your actors to improvise, or is like strictly choreographed and planned, let's say?
I will force them to do at least one version exactly as scripted, and then I would let them improvise.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. And can you tell me a bit about your relationship with Stanley Kwan?
Okay. Well, it's interesting that obviously we know about each other for many years, and I like his work a lot. I was an admirer of his, but then a couple of years before pandemic, I think somehow we run into each other very often, mostly in the same pub in Hong Kong. And so we obviously have a lot of conversations, and then I told him about my plan to retire, and he was very disappointed, and he has been trying to convince me otherwise. And he came to see my when my last two films, Body Shop and Apostle, first came up. Obviously, I asked him to watch it first, and he liked Body Shop very much. So it's like that we kind of like each other, like the work of each other, and he even went as far as saying that, hey Scott, I know you don't have the money, and what if I got the money for you, and whoever actors, actresses, you just name them, I will bring them to the set. Would you direct a film for me? I said, well, director, that's the request that no one in the world can decline. But I want you to appreciate that that is not my direction.
Okay. And tell me a bit, the film also talks about COVID a lot. So what was your thoughts on, let's say, how the government handled the whole thing? You seem to be very frustrated with them, as I understand from the film.
I was frustrated, but I mean, in the early stage of the COVID, as I was seeing them doing exactly what they were laughing at, the Chinese way of handling it, then the rest of the world just follow it. I just couldn't believe it. I mean, there was no scientific, no medical reason for doing so much unprecedented things to actually kill the other people. I mean, so many people lost their life because of the loss of the care, when all the focus and when everything is about COVID in the world. So I was very frustrated, and after that, after days it was eventually over. I reckon that, I mean, we do have to reflect on this, or the next time we will again be losing the freedom that we took it for granted so much, so easily, and so in such a stupid way, for such stupid reasons. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And how was the whole thing of shooting during COVID? I guess most of the film was shot during COVID, right? During lockdown.
Yeah, I have to shoot the film entirely in Hong Kong because we can't travel. I couldn't travel because I was not vaccinated, and also, I mean, in Hong Kong, it was one of the most locked down places in the world, and the very last one to reopen. So yes, a lot of challenges, but and there were quite some risks, and we were bearing some consequences also that I mentioned a little bit in the film, but eventually we survived it. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So are you happy with the result of the film in the end? How it turned out?
Okay, so when we first have the rough cut is a little bit over 3 hours, and we were kind of rushing it for the festival. I myself, I mean, it is very rare. Usually I would be very critical of my work, but this time, I mean, for the very first cut, I was quite excited, and I showed it to a few very close friends, and they said it doesn't feel like a 3 hour film. It's more like a 100 minutes film. So I guess somehow it works. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And tell me a bit, what is your opinion of Hong Kong now? I felt like watching the movie that there is this sentiment of nostalgia, like the old Hong Kong is gone, like the jump floating restaurant is no more and things change, but they get worse instead of getting better. Is that how you feel about Hong Kong now?
I don't want to put salt on wound. I mean, how difficult Hong Kong has been. I mean, we all kind of know. And I left Hong Kong yeah, over a year now. And since I haven't heard much good things from my friends coming to see me elsewhere. But well, that is, I would say that's complicated, and I hope in what I'm doing, I'm writing a memorial as requested by the publisher, and I want to talk more about that. I mean, it is complicated. We have very different, very diversified people in Hong Kong. Before, they're from all the world. Now, even if they're only from Hong Kong originally and China, they are very different, and there are reasons for everyone to feel very differently about the reality in Hong Kong. So I don't want to just stick on saying that Hong Kong is really bad. Hong Kong has lost it all, and Hong Kong is hopeless. I think Hong Kong is hopeful because we have got some very good younger generation there. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And how do you feel about the movie industry in Hong Kong? What is your opinion of it, let's say now or before?
I didn't catch the last question.
How do you feel about the Hong Kong movie industry? Like, how was it in the past? How is it now? What do you think about?
Okay, we used to be the most prolific place for making films, but for the past decades, I think our annual production was down from like 300 to 30 or even less. The reduction in number of productions actually raised the quality, the average quality in general. That's what I would say. And we actually see more and more creativities from the latest productions, because it seems eventually the market, the sales is not the main consideration now, because we really don't have much of market in Hong Kong nowadays. So if someone is still making something out of Hong Kong, meant for Hong Kong, it would be it would tend to be quite serious productions. That's my observation.
Okay. Well, I guess that's it. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you.
Good luck with your writing. I hope you win
Oh,
a
wow.
Nobel at some point.
Thank you so much.
Great.
Yeah.
Okay, that's it. Thank you. And
Yeah.
see you in
Thank you for
Rotterdam, I
having
guess.
me.
Bye.
Thank you. Oh, yeah. Okay.